Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today I've got a different kind of video. I just wanted to see if I asked Chat GPT what it would do if it needed to pass the Year 6 SATs, how it would go about that. Now with Chat GPT, for those of you who've used it before, it's only as good as the information and the questions and prompts that you give to it. So I wanted to supply it with a sufficient amount of information so it could give an informed answer. So I've uploaded the last year's SATs papers. I'm just asking for maths first of all, what it would do to pass the maths test. I've uploaded the entire maths curriculum for Key Stage 2. That's Year 3 all the way to 6. I've uploaded a question breakdown, which breaks down what types of questions come up the most, which percentage of questions have come up over the last few years. I uploaded the 2004 test papers, and originally I said, could you create a revision guide based on all of this information? Which it went about and did. But I was more interested to find out, if I asked ChatGPT, how would it go about passing the Year 6 SATs if it was given all of this information and a year to do so? How would you prepare for the Year 6 SATs? So here is the answer that it gave. Well, we just want to see if it's any different to how we try and help children prepare over the course of the year, and see if you can pull anything out of this that might be helpful for yourself. So it says, when deciding where to put your energy, it helps to look at the marks, how the marks are spread across the papers. For example, paper 1 arithmetic is worth about 40 marks, while papers 2 and 3 reasoning together are worth roughly 70 marks. Arithmetic questions tend to be very predictable. Around half involve the 4 operations, about 3/4 involve pure calculations or fraction work. Reasoning papers, however, are broader, and recent analysis shows a number of place value accounted for 19% of reasoning marks, with fractions, decimals, percentages, and measurement close at around 15%. Okay, so that's fairly consistent with what we try to do. I always say, if you're trying to pass your Year 6 maths tests, try to score high in the arithmetic paper, because the arithmetic questions are easier to prepare for. Like it says here, more predictable, so you know what's going to come up. And if you score high in arithmetic, let's say you get nearly 40 marks, the pass mark overall is between 56 and 58. Well, meaning if you got 40, you would only need about 16 marks from the other 2 papers. And that's about 8 on each of the reasoning papers, which I'm sure you would get more than that on. But passing the arithmetic and getting those high marks in arithmetic, so anything 35 and above, gives you a really good chance of passing overall. And let's see what reasons it gives. So it says, because of this, fluency with arithmetic is essential. Okay, strong number facts and confident methods will help you pick up many quick marks in paper 1, and will make multi-step reasoning problems easier. However, the reasoning papers carry more total marks, and they test your ability to apply those skills in real-world contexts, explain your thinking, and understand geometry, measurement, and statistics. So your preparation should balance both. Make sure your arithmetic is solid, fair, then practice using it to solve your word problems, interpret diagrams, and explain your methods. So it's basically saying, get the basics of the fluency, the 4 operations, the calculations, the place value. Make sure you're solid on those. Make sure you know how to solve long multiplication, long division, addition, subtraction, fractions, decimal, percentages questions. Make sure you got all of that, because not only will it help in your arithmetic, but it will also come in handy in the reasoning. And then after that, don't neglect the reasoning. Prepare for questions that involve measurement, geometry, shape, and statistics. To prepare effectively for the Year 6 tests, you could. So this is more specifically about what it would do. Master those core skills early. Spend the first few weeks consolidating times tables, place value, and the 4 operations, which we've talked about. These underpin most questions on the 3 papers. Work on fractions, decimal, percentages, conversions, and operations, as we've discussed, because they appear frequently across the papers. Then it says, build reasoning gradually. Once you're fluent with calculations, start tackling word problems, ratio questions, unit conversions, geometry, which means shape questions. The reasoning papers increasingly test measurement and geometry, so practice converting units, reading scales, finding area and volume, plotting coordinates, and working with angles. So in a recent video, I did a breakdown of last year's paper, and yes, it's right in what it says here. There's increasingly more questions about measurement coming up. Kilograms, centimeters, meters, millimeters, liters, milliliters, and then converting between them. In last year's paper, there was a question that asks you to convert between millimeters and meters. So knowing those conversions are obviously really handy. It goes on, it says use past papers and mark schemes, work through recent SATs papers under timed conditions to familiarise yourself with the format and pacing. Check your answers against the mark scheme and note where method marks are awarded, showing your working can earn marks even if the final answer is wrong. And it's also correct in what it's saying here. Work through past papers so you know what to anticipate, what it's going to look like. But also, it's probably a good idea to do it under time conditions because the papers are timed. And you don't want to not do as well as you could on a paper because you ran out of time. So with the arithmetic, it's only 30 minutes. You got 40 questions. So practice answering those questions quickly. Can you get through a whole paper in 30 minutes? The same with reasoning. Well, what it says next is draw and label diagrams for tricky problems, sketch bar models, number lines, shapes. Visualizing the problem often makes the steps clearer. So when you're doing a paper, it's not in your head. Don't be afraid to draw pictures, bar models, shapes, anything that can help you solve the question. I'll just go back as well because something I missed out. It says when you get make a note of where the 2 and 3 mark questions are, because it says, and I would agree with what it's saying here, show you're working, because in those 2 and 3 mark questions, you may get a mark even if the final answer is wrong. So then it goes on to revision. It says revise little and often. Short daily practice keeps skills fresh. Mix arithmetic drills with reasoning puzzles to keep your revision varied and engaging. I would agree with this as well. The way that our memories work, you want that little and often. You don't want to focus on arithmetic and not touch reasoning for the most of the year and then try to catch up with that at the end. You want to be doing smaller bits of reasoning throughout the year. The same with arithmetic, so it gets it into your long-term memory. And then something about well-being here. It says stay calm and positive. On exam day, read each question carefully, underline key information, and decide which method to use. If you're stuck, move on and return to it later, which is what the guidance says when you do your SATs. There are no penalties for wrong answers, so it's worth attempting every question. And I would agree with it here. The amount of times I see children missing out loads of questions when, even having an attempt, especially for 2 or 3 mark question, you never know, you might get a mark for your working out. By combining strong arithmetic fluency and regular reasoning practice, good exam techniques, you'll be well prepared for all parts of the Year 6 SATs. I think that's a fair summary of how I would prepare for those Year 6 SATs. I think most importantly, it's to go through past papers, to try doing them where they're timed, focus on that arithmetic, definitely. And, quick plug here, check out any paper walkthroughs on YouTube. I have on the channel walkthroughs of the arithmetic papers, the reasoning papers. I also have videos about how to answer particular questions like percentages, long division. So check those out. Okay, so that was interesting. Just a short video. Hope you found it useful. Maybe you made some notes about some of the things that came up. If you want to see more of these videos, let me know in the comments. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't for more videos on primary education. And I'll see you in the next one. Thanks, guys.